That was it. Weird. I have to turn my virtual camera off to start to stream, but either way, we should be ready to rock and roll now. I think everything should be working for us. So should be a lot of fun. We're doing a classic here. So we haven't done this one in a hot minute, and it has been a minute, friends. So should be a good time. Anyways, welcome in. While we're getting started, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple super chats. We'll wait for our guest queue to populate. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description of the video. And if you're watching on TikTok, you know how to join. Hit that guest request button. We've got a super chat from Mediogre says, enjoying your channel. Exit Jesus with exegesis. That's a good usage of words. I really do appreciate that. That's good. That is good. And also, we've got a super chat from the Bad Weekend or One Bad Weekend. Says, great show with Planet Peterson. Happy birthday to Junior. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, and today is my son's birthday, so big W there. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the birthday wishes, and I had a great time hosting with Peterson. If you've been around TikTok for a long time, you already know who Peterson is. And David, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, friend. That's awesome. That's huge. Says Joe from your prior shows should be ashamed of himself as one who uses language in his profession. It is so frustrating. I'm embarrassed for him and his inability to understand simple words. He seems a dummy or a liar. I I agree with you. I think it might be both though. Like if I had to wager, I'm gonna go with both. He's not bright and he's also a liar. All right, let me grab. I got three more super chats. We'll get our first guest in here. Nate, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Huge W. Says Rock Hard for Doug. Happy belated B day to your son. Well, thank you. It is one day. Yesterday was his birthday. So, question: are there any other passages like John 8 that are missing from early manuscripts, especially verses that believers like to use to defend their nice version of Christianity? Well, there are some verses that seem to be missing. A pretty famous passage is in Corinthians 14, where Paul basically tells the women to, shut up and sit down. That passage doesn't appear to be in all of the early manuscripts. It seems to have maybe originated as a marginal note and then later found its way into the text. And also, Nano, thank you for super chat. Says reading the Bible aloud can get you shut down. It sure can. If you're on TikTok and you're reading that Bible out loud, you might have some problems. There's some words in there you can't say on TikTok. And Ichabod, great to see you, friend. Guys, if you're not following my friend Ichabod yet on YouTube, make sure you do. He's awesome. And just for fun, go out and buy his old music albums from when he was a Christian rap artist, uh, which is, oh, sorry, I got a hair in my mouth. My friend Ichabod here used to be in a rap group called the Cross Movement, which I own the CDs of, and I still do. I go out, give him a listen, subscribe to the YouTube. He's a great guy though. Great guy. All right, last one, last super chat from our friend Coach Frankie. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. It says, "Hey Justin, sorry if you get this question often, but can you explain where the Bible was originally found?" Well, I think the problem with the question is that the Bible wasn't originally found. There's like no, like we don't have an original Bible, if that's what you're asking. Like the oldest complete Bible is typically referred to as like Codex Sinaiticus. And Codex Sinaiticus is roughly fourth, maybe fifth century, depending on how you date it. So that's like the earliest complete Bible, and it has some books in it, obviously, that some people don't like. That being the case, that is the oldest one we have. Also, give me 1 second to double check our vertical stream on YouTube. I just want to make sure it's up and running because I pulled my phone out to see if it's running on my phone and it doesn't look like it is. Don't know why. Fucking OBS. Uh, I'll check on the internet browser here at least and see if it works on the internet browser. Uh, it says it's not live, of course. So everyone can see me on the horizontal stream. They can see me on TikTok. Can't see a damn thing on the vertical stream. Great. Fucking great. Love that. Love that for you. Cool. Okay, let me just get the stream key, and see why the stream key didn't work. I'm sure that's the problem. Gotta turn that off. Fix my stream key. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. This was the one benefit of streaming with Streamlabs. You didn't have to worry about all these stream keys, but apparently, okay, it's the same stream key. I hit go. Why aren't you going? That's the question. That's the question. Give me 1 second, friends. Try to make sure that we get our vertical stream running. Having a little bit of lag. We'll see if it evens out. Yeah, I don't see the vertical stream going live. Oh, because I'm a fucking idiot. Hold on. I think I hit the wrong go button. I think I just streamed to the Unapologetic live show for the last 2 minutes. Sorry, Blitz. Sorry, Ian. We've got a weird stream now on the Unapologetic channel we've got to go take down. Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, friends. All right, everybody on the vertical stream should be able to see me now. I apologize. It was a little bit delayed. That's my bad. Apologize for that. I hit the wrong button and I sent it to the wrong YouTube channel. And now I've got to go over to our other channel and dump it. Fantastic. I'm gonna do one other thing real quick though. One other thing. I got to take care of the resolution, maybe on our vertical camera. The vertical camera resolution looks a little bit laggy. I don't think the YouTube stream is lagging at all, but it looks like it does look like the TikTok studio might be a little bit laggy. Give me just 1 second. Oh, well, you can't change it while you're live. So we're gonna fucking run with it. Welcome in, friends. It's great to see you. For those on the vertical stream, I apologize if you didn't get to see the couple super chats we read before the vertical stream went live. We do have a super chat from JMR. Thank you so much, JMR, for the $50 super chat. That's huge. It says, could you make a sound argument that it could possibly be good to suspend your moral belief 2 to 3 minutes tops to full hand smack the shit out of someone if it reduced overall harm in the world? Just spitballing here. Let's say slavery apologists. So yeah, okay. So if you're like a utilitarian, right, you would say that sometimes you do things that are not morally sound, and you do them because it benefits you in the long run, or it reduces the amount of overall harm in society. And so you would definitely say that. That's what so you could definitely do that. Thank you for the head. I appreciate that. Now, the other thing too, I'm going to grab 2 super chats that were missed because the vertical stream wasn't showing, and then we'll get our first guest in here. David, thank you for the $20 super chat. If you're still watching, David, thank you so much. It says, Joe from prior shows should be ashamed of himself as one who uses language in his profession. It is so frustrating. I'm embarrassed for him and his inability to understand simple words. He seems like a dummy and a liar. And David, I agree with you, friend. And our last one we saw from Nate C says, rock hard for Doug. Agreed. Happy belated birthday to your son. I think. Question, are there any passages like John 8 that are missing from early manuscripts, especially verses that believers like to use to defend their nice version of Christianity? There are a lot of passages I could point to, but as I said prior, the one that comes to mind the most is in Corinthians 14 when Paul berates the women. That passage does not appear to be original. All right, let me grab our first guest here. The first one in, as far as I can tell, looks like Kim and then Daniel. So let me grab Kim. How you doing, Kim?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. Kim, are you at least 18?
Yes, I'm 18.
Awesome.
And
And are you a believer?
yes, I am.
Cool. I assume you're a believer in Jesus, right?
Somewhat. somewhat. Yeah, I mean, I was on the other day. I believe some of the stuff's steganography.
Do you agree or disagree with the claim on the screen?
That's what I wanted to talk about. I was hoping to talk about the Gospel of Judas. So I believe he
Well,
told the truth
I
in the
guess
Gospel.
what I'm asking about is the claim on the screen. Do you agree or disagree with that?
What is on there? I can't see anything.
Oh, sorry. I assumed you had the live stream open. It says Jesus was a liar and a fraud. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about Gospel of Judas. Sorry.
Okay, so do you agree or disagree though?
I guess I do. I disagree. I'm so sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. Where do you want to start? I can show you where he was a liar, and I can show you where he was a fraud.
Are you familiar with the Gospel of Judas?
Yeah, I read it when it was first published.
Okay, I mean, in there he said, "Truly I say to you, no one of your generation of people will know me." He said that in the Gospel of Judas
Why do I care what the Gospel of Judas says?
because it talks about Nebru and Saklos, and
Yeah,
they go
but
back to
right,
Epic and Gilgamesh.
but why do I care what's in that gospel?
Because he's telling the truth in it.
How do you know? How do you know he even said those words that are recorded for him in there?
The reason why I know is because Nebru and Saklos, Nebru means rebel, Saklos means fool.
Right, but
This
what I
is
asked you is the words that are recorded in that gospel, how do you know that those words were
I
spoken by
don't
Jesus?
I
Right.
don't like I
Okay.
said. I believe a lot of it's steganography. So the truth is still in there, regardless of whether the actual story is true or not.
Okay, so you don't know if the story is true or not.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know whether Jesus was a god or this or that. Like I don't know any of this stuff for fact. What I do know is the steganography has been there since ancient Samaria, and it keeps being passed on. You know, like songs are just remeshes of older songs and movies. It's just a rerun. Everything's a rerun basically of the
Yeah, well,
past.
I don't think the Bible is stenography. I don't think the Gospel of Judas
Yeah,
is
but you can't prove
stenography.
it. You can't prove it. You just don't think
And
it.
neither can you. What I can tell you is that what we have from history is that stenography typically is like coherent. Like you can tell when somebody is doing stenography. You don't have to guess at it. And the problem we have with
It's
the biblical
steganography.
texts,
Steganography, not stenography. Steganography.
they Steganography, there we
Steganography.
go. Yeah,
It's hidden
stenography is
code.
court recording. Yeah, yeah.
It's not. It's hidden code. It's not supposed to be known because if people know, the system breaks
Oh, well
down. Everything.
then it's a useless book. Cool. All right.
It's not useless. It tells the truth.
It doesn't. All right, we're gonna move on to an adult, I think, and see if we can get the ball rolling on the claim that's actually on the screen. Sorry about that. The TikTok stream is a little bit laggy. Maybe guys, let me know if the TikTok stream is lagging for you. I don't think the YouTube streams are lagging, but the TikTok stream looks like it's laggy a little bit. I don't know if there's much I could do about that at the moment. All right, let me grab. Oh, we had a guest on TikTok. They bounced a little bit laggy. TikTok is glitching. Yeah, it's fine for you. Okay. All right, let's grab Jacob from the queue. Jacob, are you with us?
Wait a minute.
Jacob,
I'm trying to hang on. I'm trying to plug in my AirPods.
right.
You hear me all right?
Yep.
What's going on, dude?
Your connection's a little bit laggy. Do you have Wi-Fi?
I do. I'm not. Wait. Well, how about if I do this? Is it any better?
I think it's okay. All right. So, Jacob, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, to both. I'm 24. I'm Catholic. I'm European. And I've been watching your channel for a little bit.
Cool.
So
And
I saw the last live where you had this I think Italian dude on right. That was an interesting
I
conversation.
think your earbuds are destroying your audio quality. You're getting a lot of like echoing and doubling on the audio.
All right, hang on. I'll
All
hang
right,
up
hang
and
on.
I'll
I'll
try
hang
to
up and I'll
reconnect. All
try
right.
to reconnect. All right. Sure.
All right.
All right.
See if this works. I think his audio sounded okay before he put his earpods in. I think it was the earpods that messed him up. Sometimes Bluetooth doesn't work very quickly. Welcome back, Jacob. Oh, maybe his connection's still connecting. I don't think he's got good Wi-Fi over there. Jacob? Hello? Hello? No? Okay. Well, I guess we'll I guess we'll move on. Friends, if you're watching on TikTok, we'd love to talk to you. The guest request is at the bottom of the screen. And we got a couple people in the YouTube queue. We'll grab those next, it looks like. Philo, great to see you, friend. It says, Justin, you have taken these debates to a whole new level. Love you and everything you do. Rock hard for Doug. Well, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Big W for Phil. And also, Josh says, in Doug we crust. Yes, absolutely. And may the courts be with you, Josh. Absolutely. And Triumph says, when's a good time to request up for questions? Well, typically during like a Q&A. This is not a Q&A. This is a debate. You're in a debate. So not really a great time for it. Beboop says, cooking with DZ. Much love. Rock hard for Doug. Well, thank you so much, Beboop. I appreciate that. All right, Jacob did not come back. I guess we'll just have to move on to the next. Jacob, if you get a better connection and you can make your way back here, I'll prioritize you. I'll put you at the top of the queue. I won't make you wait in line. So come when you get the chance, come on back. We'll get you figured out. Welcome in, Stewie. Dennis. 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 Does your equipment work, Dennis? Okay. All right, Dennis. Gotta go. Come on back later, Dennis. All right, let's grab the next one. Welcome in, Dougism.
Oh, what's going on, Jackson? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dennis? Are you at least 18?
Yes, I am 18. Not a believer. I just wanted to come in and shoot the shit with you and tell you you're doing a great job. You've converted me fully to Dougism. Rock hard for
Good.
Doug every day.
Well, that is good. Nice to hear. I appreciate that. But we are
Yeah.
looking for debates, Dougism Rocks.
Oh yeah.
But I
Of course.
appreciate the kind words, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be listening. Can't wait to see what you're gonna cook up. And I'll be listening diligently. Have a good day.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers, buddy.
All right, I guess we'll grab Obi-Wan from our TikTok queue. Obi-Wan, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Obi-Wan, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yeah.
Cool. I assume you're a Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And do you agree or disagree with the statement on the screen?
I would definitely disagree.
Do you want me to start with the liar part or the fraud part?
I guess the liar part.
Sure. All right. Let's start with an easy one. We're going to go to John chapter 7. And I'm going to show you something that's interesting. It's an interesting passage. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the passage, but I don't think they should. All right. And you should be able to see what's on my screen. I'm going to show you my browser. So this is in John 7. Let me grab verse 9 and include it. So in terms of going to the festival, oh shit, I need maybe 7 as well. All right. So Jesus tells the disciples, he says, "Go to the festival yourselves." Then he says, "I am not going to this festival, for my time has not yet fully come." After saying this, he remained in Galilee, but after his brothers had gone to the festival, he also went, not publicly, but as it were in secret. So he lied to his disciples.
Can you go up to the verse? I guess 8 it is, or verse 9.
Yeah, I think 7 is probably where you want to start.
Yeah, the world kind of hates you, but it hates you because it has the man's works evil. Okay.
Right. And then he ends up going anyways.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't time for him to go to the festival with them. Maybe at a later time it was better for him to go in secret.
Sure, but did he lie or did he change his mind? Because it sounds like he lied.
I wouldn't call it a lie. I would just say it wasn't his time to go with them, but at a later time it was better for him to go in secret.
Yeah, but the reason
'Cause
why
he said
he chose not to
time
go
has
is it
come.
says my time is not fully come, meaning it's it's not time for me to get hung up,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I don't see how this makes him a liar.
Well, did he say something that was true or not true?
Well, he was saying that it wasn't time for him to go, and then I guess at some point later it was time for him to go.
No, he didn't say now is not my time to go. He says I am not going to this festival.
For my time has not fully come.
That's right. So he says I'm
Sure.
not going, and then he gives you the reason why he's not going. He didn't
Because
say
his
I'm not
time
going
hadn't
right
fully
now.
come. But then afterward, it was time for him to go.
No, we'll try this again. His statement was, I am not going to this festival. His reason is because my time has not fully come.
Okay.
So the statement, I'm not going to the festival, means he's not going to the festival.
But the reason why is because his time hadn't fully come.
Yes, the reason is irrelevant, though. The statement is standalone. I am not going to this festival.
Because my time has not fully come.
But he did go to the
after his
festival.
brothers had gone to the festival, it was time for him to go to the festival. So I don't see the problem.
I think you do. Let's try to be honest with it. So what he says is, I am not going to this festival. Does he say I'm going later, or does he say I'm not going?
He says, I'm not going, for my time has not fully come.
Okay, and
Has
when
not
you say
fully
that
come.
you're not going, does it mean that you're not going or that you're going?
Well, there's a reason why he's
No,
not going.
try it again.
Because his time has not
Try
fully
again.
come.
When you say I'm not going to the festival, does it mean you're going or not going?
It means he's not going because his time had not yet fully come.
Right. Okay. So when he says I'm not going to the festival, that means he lied because later he did go to the festival.
How do you know it wasn't time then for him to go?
It doesn't matter. He says I am not going. That's
And
a
the
statement
reason why
about
was
no, the
because of
reason's
his
irrelevant.
time.
We're talking about the statement. The statement is I am not going. But he
Well,
does
you have
go.
to finish the sentence.
No, I don't actually.
Yeah.
If I said I'm not going to
So you
Walmart,
just read half
if I
of
said
the sentence and make
if I
TikTok
said
videos
I'm
with
not
half
going
the
to
sentence.
Walmart today because I don't want to go to Walmart, and then later I go to Walmart, that's a lie. It's either a lie or I change my
it would
mind.
be like saying I'm not going to Walmart today because it's raining. And then sometime later the rain stops and you do end up going to Walmart because the reason why is no longer applicable.
Okay, so his time did fully come then. He was ready to get crucified like an hour
It
later.
was time for him to go to that festival.
Okay, no, he didn't say anything about time to go to the festival. He says, my time has not fully come, which is a phrase he uses in the Gospels to declare his crucifixion. His time fully coming has nothing to do with whether or not he's going to this festival. I mean, it has to do with him not going because his time hasn't come.
Right. But then after his brothers had gone to the festival, he went to the festival. I don't see how this is a problem.
Because he either lied or changed his mind.
I mean, maybe, okay, I'll grant you that. Maybe he changed his mind and decided to go.
Yes, he certainly could have changed his mind.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. So does Jesus not know? Is he not like capable of knowing what he's up to? Because the Bible says that he's God and God can't change his mind.
Can you show me the verse where it says God can't change his mind?
Yeah, the best example is in 1 Samuel 15:29, but there's another one in Numbers 23:19. In 1 Samuel,
Okay.
it says, "Moreover, the glory of Israel will not deceive or change his mind, for he's not a mortal that he should change his mind." And same thing in Numbers 23:19. God is not a human being that he should lie, or a mortal that he should change his mind. So if Jesus is 100% God, that means he shouldn't be lying or changing his mind.
That's interesting. I'll have to look at these verses.
That's a good one. All right, we could do another one if you want to. I think there's quite a few examples to pick from.
I got like 2 minutes, but go ahead.
Okay, let me see if I do one that's short then, rather than doing one that's long. All right, we're gonna do John 6:46. I'll put it back on the screen. John 6:46 says, "Not that anyone has seen the Father except for the one who is from God. He has seen the Father." So what he's suggesting here is that no one's seen the Father. Is that correct?
Not that anyone. Can you pull up the whole like chapter? Because just reading verses out of context doesn't work for me.
Well, it's like 50 verses. You want to read all 50 of them, or?
Well, just like the verses around it, maybe like before and after or so.
It says, "It is written in the prophets,
No.
and they shall all be taught by God. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father, except for the one who is from God. He has seen the Father. Truly, I tell you, whoever believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life."
Okay.
Right. So he's
All
saying
right.
you haven't seen the Father.
Nobody's seen the Father yet.
Yeah. Now, of course, the problem we have with this is he basically says the opposite in the John 14 I'm thinking
Oh,
of.
where he says, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father."
Yeah. He says, "Why do you ask me? Why do you ask me? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." It says,
Yeah, I think that's. I would say that those are two different contexts. So, like, meaning no one has seen the Father. Like, literally, no one has seen the person of God the Father. But Jesus says that the Father is in him. So, if you see him, you're seeing the Father. He's the exact. Hebrews says he's the exact imprint of his nature, or something along those lines. I might be
yeah, you're pretty
misquoting the
close,
verse, but
actually. It says that he is the visible image of the invisible God.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then,
So I would say those are. I mean, if you're just going by the wording, then I would say you can try to make that a contradiction, but I think the context shows that it's not.
right, okay. So if I've seen Jesus, let's say I'm Peter. If I've seen Jesus, does that mean I've seen the Father?
In the sense that Jesus is the exact imprint of the Father, but he's not the person of the Father. No one has seen the person of the Father. They can see the Son, who is the exact imprint of the Father, but not the person of the Father himself.
Because what he's doing is chastising his own disciples here. Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father." So the disciples are like, "Listen, we know that you're distinct from the Father. We want to see the Father." It says, "We will be satisfied." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still don't know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'?" So he's saying there's no distinction between him and the Father.
No, there is a distinction between him and the
Oh,
Father, for
what's
sure.
the distinction?
He's the person of the Son. He's begotten of the Father.
Yeah, I know, but he says, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." Does that not mean what it says? Is that just a metaphor?
Well, Jesus is the exact imprint of the Father. So if you're seeing, if you're seeing Jesus, you're seeing the character of the Father, you're seeing the love of the Father, all of those things.
But
But
you're not
it's
literally
not.
seeing
You're
the
not
Father.
actually seeing the person. Yeah, you're not actually seeing the person of the Father. No.
Okay, so that's not literally true then.
Yeah, I don't know if you would call it metaphorically true or however you want to say it, but in that sense, he's not saying you're seeing the person of the Father.
Sure. Now let me show you where it's for sure wrong, because when the Israelites in the desert, they go up on the mountain and they do see the Father. It says, then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel went up and they saw the God of Israel. Under his feet there was something like a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven for clearness. God did not lay his hands on the chief men of the Israelites. They beheld God and they ate and they drank.
Well, how does I don't get it?
That says they beheld
You're
God.
saying that
They saw God.
right, but it's not the Father though.
I'm sorry, is the God of the Hebrews not the Father?
Well, the God of the Hebrews is Yahweh, who is triune, Father, Son, and Spirit.
Yeah. No. Yahweh is certainly not triune.
I mean, are you a Christian?
No.
So I don't understand why you're like telling me what Christians believe.
I'm not. I'm telling you what the Bible says.
Right, the Bible teaches Trinitarianism.
I don't think it does. It tries to. Like there's a couple moments where you can make that case, but I don't think it does. I think what you've got is three gods, not two gods. But we're talking right now about
I don't
about
necessarily
Exodus,
think
though.
you're being charitable with Christian beliefs. Like we
I'm-
have our holy book, and we believe that our holy book teaches Trinitarianism, and you're just coming along as
I would
some
disagree.
atheist saying no, it don't. Isn't that kind of silly?
It's not silly. I was a Christian for 20 years, and I have a formal education in studying this book.
You were a Christian for 20 years, and you don't believe the Bible teaches Trinitarianism?
Yeah.
Dag, that's tough.
Yeah. There's a lot of Christians that don't believe in Trinitarianism.
No Christian doesn't believe in Trinitarianism.
That's
You
false.
can't be a Christian and believe anything but Trinitarianism.
That's certainly false. That's not even close to in the Bible. That's something that Trinitarians want you to believe. That's why Theodosius II had to issue edicts forcing Trinitarian beliefs on people, because the early church was so diverse in opinions. They had to force this down everyone's throat.
Yeah, but if they were allegedly a part of the early church and they weren't Trinitarians, then they weren't Christians.
Based on whose metric?
The Bible.
Oh, show me in the Bible where it says you have to be a Trinitarian.
Matthew 28:19. But I do have to roll though. But I appreciate you, bro.
All right, have a good one. That's not the Trinitarian doctrine, by the way. Anyways, that was a good time. All right, friends, we're on to the next one. That was a good time. He was nice, at least. Small Johnson, my friend, thank you for the super chat. Says, good to see you. I hope you had a blast with your son for his birthday. Unfortunately, he is with mom for his birthday week this week, but he'll be back with me this weekend. I'll be grabbing him. But anyways, I'm sure he had a blast. He always has a great birthday. Thank you for the birthday wishes, though. And New says, is Chronicles 21 and 2 Samuel 24 a scribal error? No, I don't think it's a scribal error. I think it's a correction. So if you read Chronicles, the chronicler does something that most Christians don't expect. The chronicler is constantly adjusting and correcting the book of Samuel because they want to paint David as being a little more kingly, a little more saintly than what he actually was in those books. And thank you for sending out 5 DZ Debate memberships, Larry Beck. Big W. I super appreciate that, buddy. Great to see you tonight. And Katie says, sorry if you've been asked this before, but are there any good books on the origin of Yahweh? There are some good books. I would recommend basically all the books by Mark S. Smith. You may also want to look at the works of William Devers and John S. Day, and maybe even Frank Moore Cross. I think those are all really good resources. And you may also want to check out the teachings and the books by James Tabor. James Tabor has a lot to say on this particular subject. Bill says, good start, Justin. We love Iones. I appreciate that. It's always painful getting it right off the ground. And Chad says, why can't theists answer yes or no questions? Because the power of Christ does not compel them to do so. He's powerless, or It's powerless. And LA Silver Surfer, thank you for the super thanks. I appreciate that, friend. And also Johnny Cakes, welcome in today, says the infuriating thing is a lot of these American Christians are circumcised because of the insane Puritan and rabbinic revenge on sexual pleasure. Yeah, I think you're kind of right on that one, actually. But remember, in Galatians, Paul tells you, if you take the marks of circumcision, Christ is of no use to you. Okay? Don't, like, if you're a Christian, stop circumcising your children. It's bad for them. Don't do it. I'm going to grab 4 super chats. We are going to get our next guest in here. Crucifix Me says, cast out by his own, promised salvation, left a trail of ruin, died for mankind from himself, no tomb, no body, Messiah. Nope, just ate out. I did not expect that coming, actually. That was good. And Bookie says, I get rock hard for Doug anytime you say, okay, let's try this again. LMFAO, let's get cooking, baby. Also, rip my foreskin and others mutilated at birth for God. Yeah, actually. I think the trend is fading, though. I think we're getting towards the end. Susie, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, G-Man was talking trash about you today. He's a pro-slavery Christian, and I'm betting too cowardly to talk to you. Poured my drink and watching Chef Justin. Well, thank you so much, Susie. I appreciate that. And he did message James at Modern Day Debates trying to set up a slavery debate with me. I told him like it's going to have to wait until the fall when my son's in school and I've got more time. But we might actually do a debate. We'll see. Marcus says, why did everyone love Huge Grace? She had a way of lifting spirits. Listen, huge Grace is just here to stay. I'm okay with it now. I've made peace with it. I'm okay with the joke. Stan, thank you for the $20 super chat. That's super generous. This is, here we go. The embarrassing dance of avoiding reality Christians do is so unhinged. The cognitive dissonance is absurd. I know, and we see it every time we're live. Every single time we read a passage, it's a clear lie or a clear contradiction, and they tap dance, and they say words don't mean words, and you name it. You know, that's what's going to happen. All right, let's get our next guest in here. Daniel, I think, was next in, so let's get Daniel in the guest box. Welcome in, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Daniel,
I'm very excited.
Sure. Daniel, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yes, I'm at least 18. I'm 19.
Okay, and do you agree or disagree with the claim on the screen?
I disagree with that particular claim, yes.
Okay, and do you disagree with the liar part or the fraud part?
I disagree with both parts.
Which one would you like to tackle first, the liar part or the fraud part?
I would like to tackle the liar part first.
The liar part first.
I'm not aware currently of any lie that Jesus has said.
I mean, he's told quite a few lies. Let's talk
Himself?
about, yeah,
from his own voice.
Well, I mean, if the Gospels are to be trusted as a source of his words, yeah. Have you read any of the Old Testament yet?
Not a lot, very limited.
Okay. So I'm going to show you John 3 real quick. In John 3, it says, no one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. What's that mean?
I must say I don't understand this sentence, but I am a mortal. I don't have the superhuman knowledge. I don't, or cognitive ability to understand everything. I don't actually understand this sentence. I don't know what it means.
Okay, I can go slow. So Jesus is saying that no one, like no human, has ascended into heaven except for himself.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think that statement is true or not true?
If it's from the Bible, it's probably true because that's.
Okay.
But it's possible. It's not. Verified. I'm not sure. I don't know how to interpret that statement. I'm not sure.
Have you read the story of Elisha and Elijah?
No, but no.
Okay. So in 2 Kings, we have the parting scene when Elijah hands off the mantle to Elisha and then he flies away. And it says, they continued walking and talking. A chariot of fire and horses of fire separated the two of them, and Elijah ascended in a whirlwind into heaven. So Elijah went into heaven, which means Jesus was either wrong or he told a lie.
No, he probably told the truth. I just have a hard time interpreting this. I don't. Yeah.
Well, let's go slow from the beginning. Jesus says no one has ascended into heaven. What does that mean?
No one. Okay. No one has ascended. No one has traveled up to heaven. Ascended. Ascent.
Right. Exactly.
Humans can't ascend. They can't fly. So.
Right.
God could with wings. Angels can.
So on face value, this just means what it says. It means that no one has ascended into heaven, right?
But could it be metaphorical? Is it like...
What's it metaphor for? Why would he say such a thing? Why wouldn't he just say what he means?
Because humans can't ascend. They can't fly. But Jesus could fly. As described by the Bible. We don't know if he could, but we think so with the help of the Bible.
Right, but what I'm asking is, if this doesn't mean that no one has ascended into heaven, what would it mean? What would be the alternative reading?
I'm not aware what the alternative could be right now. I'm not.
Yeah, because it seems pretty clear. Like the passage isn't confusing. It just means that no man has ascended in heaven. So then Jesus just forgot. He forgot what was happening in the Old Testament when Elijah went into heaven. Or he's, if you think he's all knowing, then you just have to assume he's a liar.
I'm not sure how that's the only possible conclusion you could come to. I'm not.
I mean, can you give me another one?
I mean, can you explain why you come to, in simpler terms, in general, why? I mean, he has said that people can enter paradise. I'm sure if he believed that Elijah did the right things and followed the word of God, he could enter heaven. I mean, eventually. It's not just God that could ascend to heaven. I mean, I have a hard time, interpreting this stuff. I don't think it's very easy.
That's okay. Well, listen, Daniel, I think we have to move on to someone that's got a little better English. Not your fault. You're doing the best you can. But I think in order to...
I have good English, but I can't understand the Bible very much.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Right. It's okay. Don't worry. It's good talking to you, buddy. Okay?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
He was doing his best. He was doing his best. He just... Talking in somebody else's language and reading a book in their language can be difficult. It really can be. Angry Amalekite Infant says, recent caller Joe brought up John 5:19. Can this verse be used versus Christians who try to run from the Old Testament? So this is similar to Matthew. No, this is not similar to Matthew 5, but I'll read the passage real quick. Give me 1 second. What it says is, Jesus said to them, very truly, I tell you, the Son can do nothing on his own, but only what he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, the Son does likewise. So what you're suggesting, I suspect, is that if the Father is claiming that the laws are forever, and Jesus only does what the Father says, and he's in one accord with the Father, then he must agree that the law of Moses is eternal. Which I think we can demonstrate pretty easily that is the case, right? So hands down, I'm agreeing with you for sure. I think this verse adds to the other verses to reinforce that the Mosaic law is still in effect. Yoda St. Cloud, good to see his friend, says Jesus is God until he isn't God, but then he is God, but then he's a ghost, but then he's also everything and everyone, but also not. What the fuck, rock hard for Doug? Yoda, that's the problem, right? They want to do like they want to always have their cake and eat it too, and it just doesn't work very well. Stan coming in again. Thank you so much, Stan666, for the $20 super chat. Says, imagine if Christians tried to make one comprehensive document that tells you which parts of the Bible are literal versus metaphorical. This would be a really good thing, actually. So if you read the writings of Origen has a lot of disdain for Christians that don't think the Old Testament is metaphorical. He has a lot of trouble with the Old Testament. And so one of the things he does is constantly try to make it a metaphorical reading to soften the harder parts of it, which, you know, we see that a lot as well. Vincent says, first time catching you live. Here's my tiny contribution to your great endeavor in exposing and combating poisoned minds. Leaf be upon Doug. Rock hard for Doug. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Vincent. And every super chat, every member, every like, comment, and share helps to stream. So thank you so much for being here. And Christian Philippi, thank you for the $10. Super thanks. And also Patrick says, to your son on his birthday. Well, thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate that. I'm just going to grab 4 more super chats, and then we'll get our next guest right in the box. Adam Brown, great to see you today. Thank you for the super chat. Says, cook them up like cocktail weenies today in honor of Small Johnson. I will. I absolutely will do that, friend. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for watching. And Nano says, is the secret name of Doug really Douglas? Whispered like Yahweh's. So sacred and hidden, it must never be spoken aloud or revealed. Nano, this is a great question. But Doug does not care if you mispronounce his name as long as you're a good person. Doug cares way more about people being good people than he does about his name. Because he's the rock of salvation, not the rock of horrific punishments. And Jay says there's a guy called Gman with views that he's confident in, but golly shucks, he's just too shy to join the queue and debate. Maybe he needs an invite. He won't. He's already messaged me. He will not join this stream. He will only join a stream if it's like moderated by modern day debates. Because he's a coward. Jeremy says, good day, sir. Question, do you think the Constantine and Paul conversion have any correlation or just coincidence? Just wondering your thoughts. I don't actually, Jeremy. This is an interesting query, but I don't think they're at all related. That being said, if there was no Paul, I don't think we would have a Constantine. I think the Constantine conversion is heavily reliant on the Messiah claims going out to the Greeks and the Romans and the Gentiles. And without that, you're dead in the water. All right, let me grab. Oh, they dropped. Maybe we got them. Kanpan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. Kanpan, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yeah.
Awesome. And I assume you believe in the Christian God.
Yeah, I was to be honest, I was listening to your live a second ago, but I was pulling through like a dead zone. Were you arguing for like the Trinity being a biblical belief, or were you saying it was a post-biblical innovation?
What I'm saying is you have to do a lot of triangulation to get there, and it depends on which Bible verses you emphasize and which ones you don't, and whether or not you're willing to suspend logic. If you're not willing to suspend logic, no, I don't think you can get to a Trinity. If you are willing to suspend logic, I think you can get there. But that being said, we're actually not talking about the Trinity today. As much as I'd love to talk about the Trinity, that's not really the topic of today. So did you want to do the topic on the screen?
Well, yeah. I feel like I might have joined misunderstanding you. Like if your claim is like Jesus was a liar or a fraud, is that the historical Jesus or the Jesus that you have preserved in some layers of the gospel?
I think it could be both. So I think the Jesus of the Gospels is clearly a liar and a fraud. The historical Jesus is hard to know because scholars, the most famous we would say like those that were part of the Jesus seminar have traditionally not agreed on what the historical Jesus actually said. That being said, I do think that if you look at what we think he said, I think we can at least get to the point where he's a fraud, or let's say he was really badly mistaken about his identity.
Yeah, like I think, I think we might agree more than we disagree. I think the only thing I could find to disagree with you on is that I think there might be an approachable consensus on the historical Jesus, as just being a apocalyptic Jewish preacher. In that sense, I don't think I would label that as being fraudulent or lying, so to speak. But certain things that you have with the Gospel of John reflecting a little bit of a higher Christology, I think then any of his claims of divinity, I wouldn't really attribute to the historical Jesus. So if we agree, I unless you disagree, I don't want to presume.
So I think the if he was an apocalyptic teacher, like an end times preacher, and he was teaching that he was the Messiah, then I personally believe that he was either one of two things. He was very mistaken, or or he's a liar. Because if it turned out that that he was the Messiah, well, he didn't fulfill his promises. He said he was coming back within the lifetime of his disciples, and then he didn't come back within the lifetime of his disciples. It was clear that Paul and the other disciples were under the impression that he would be coming back within their lifetimes. We have lots of statements issued in Paul's letters that would lead one to believe he's coming back any day now. So just hold on a little bit longer. The present form of the world is about to end. And if that comes from history, if Paul's words are coming from history, then either Paul is mistaken or what Jesus told him was not true.
Yeah, I think I would say that any kernel of history within within Jesus's disciples probably didn't expect him to die. I think anything to do with his death and the later reinterpretations of his death is probably um, due for rhetorical reasons rather than any actual historical reasons. So with Paul expecting to come back in his lifetime, that's certainly true. Uh, and yeah, he was wrong about that. So like I said, I think we might agree because in terms of the historical Jesus, I would make a claim that the historical Jesus is just uh, a follower of John the Baptist, and then he kind of took over his role after John the Baptist died, and continued in apocalyptic Jewish preaching. And then once he died, I think that kind of came as a shock to his disciples or his believers, because they expected him to kind of take institute a human kingship, reestablish the nation of Israel, and that did not happen. And I think any biblical claims or texts that reinterpret that would probably just be later renegotiations of what Jesus's purpose was.
Right.
I don't think any of Jesus's I am. I would say I would argue that most of John's claims about what Jesus said is probably not the historical Jesus and claims
Right.
that he would make.
Well, I mean, Kanpan, it sounds like we actually agree on quite a bit, so I'll probably have to move on to the next guest. But I appreciate you coming up, man.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. It's okay.
Cheers. Yeah, I give a lot of charity to the Gospels when it says that Jesus said something, but like half of what they say Jesus said, obviously, you guys know I don't believe it. I think these are people inventing words for Jesus, but it is what it is. All right, let me grab next in. I'm going to grab a couple of super chats. Grab next in line. Marcus says, I'm just starting a new, I can't say this on stream, strain. I'm naming it Flying Jesus tagline. It's biblical. Shout out to the last caller. Happy birthday to your son, Justin. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. I appreciate that. And hey, thanks for being here and thanks for supporting the stream. I appreciate that. And Krenich says, happened upon you through the line. Glad to catch a stream. Well wishes to you all. Well, thank you, Krenich. Actually, I'm going to be on the line again soon. It looks like August the 6th is when I'll be back on the line. So Put that in your calendar, friends. Mindy says, "Hi everyone. I hope you have been well. I thought I smelled barbecue. Having celebration of life for Ozzy tomorrow. He, like Doug, rocks hard. Oh, he absolutely does, and it's one of Doug's favorite musicians, by the way. Absolutely, big W for that." And Sir Game, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, "This is my favorite live topic of yours to watch. Love when we go deep into the prophecy." I know we're about to hit on those. We're about to get it into the prophecy tonight. I can't wait. I wish my my streams weren't so laggy tonight. I think it's because I'm streaming my vertical stream too high of a resolution. But I'll take it down for the next one. Cognitive Dissonance sent out 5 DZ memberships. Big W. I appreciate that, Cognitive Dissonance. That's very generous. And last one from Stateful Heretic. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, "Heard a bit of National Prayer Altar in DC saying immigrants are God's punishment. Is there any biblical source for that nonsense? Some of these theists in position of influence are scary." Rock hard for Doug. No, there is literally nothing in the Bible stating that immigrants coming into your land are a punishment, unless it's referring specifically to like the Babylonians or the Assyrians, that God did say he's stirring up their armies to come and attack. But those are to the Israelites specifically. Those are not like blanket commands for Christian history. Dr. Joe, thank you for the love paint. Great to see you in the house, Dr. Joe. I appreciate that. All right, let's get our next guest in here. I think it's going to be, our friend Gman's in the house. Welcome in, Gman.
Finally, Justin, how are you?
I'm doing good, Gman. You don't want to put your face on the screen, or?
No, because you owe me an apology. You just told your audience that I was not going to be on this channel and I wasn't in the background. I'm here. I know you can see who's in the background, right?
Oh, see, last time you talked to me, you said you wouldn't be coming on the stream. So now you're a liar?
No, I did say I wasn't going to come on here. I changed my mind. People tend to do that.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm not being disrespectful, but I do tend to change my mind.
Sure.
If you know my history on here, I said I wasn't going to go to a lot of places that I went to.
Actually, don't know your history. I don't follow your channel at all. So
okay,
do you agree or disagree with the claim on the screen?
Jesus is not a fraud. An atheist cannot make the claim that Jesus is a fraud.
Oh, I certainly can. So we can start with the fraud claim. I think my fraud claim is rooted in the idea that he was the Messiah, and he certainly wasn't the Messiah. So according to the Bible, the Messiah was supposed to be an actual king that sat on the throne over Israel, over the Israelites, and
I apologize about that. That was my phone. I apologize. We muted.
And dealt with all of Israel's enemies. Do you think he did that?
I believe that because atheists believe that God doesn't exist, you can't say that he was a fraud. And Jesus is God.
Yeah, we certainly can. It's called an internal critique. Like if I said it's true that the bananas in pajamas were actually frauds, I think we all know that the bananas in pajamas aren't people or things that existed in real life. We're referring to the fictitious version. So when I say that Jesus is a liar and a fraud, I'm obviously referring to the character in the book.
Well, here's the thing. The character in the book is God, and atheists plainly say he doesn't exist.
I disagree with that.
We have a fundamental disagreement here that since you believe that God doesn't exist, then that means you can't say that Jesus is a fraud or liar. You can't even say that he walked the earth, really, to be perfectly honest.
Was Harry Potter a good character or a bad character?
Well, then if we're talking about Harry Potter,
G-Man, was Harry Potter a good character or a bad character?
I don't know. I've never seen Harry Potter, and I never will see Harry Potter.
Have you ever seen a Disney movie?
I've seen a Disney movie, yes.
Which one?
Let's say Snow White.
Okay. Was Snow White a good character or a bad character?
It depends. If you're in the occult, you probably think she was a good character. If you're a Christian, you probably think she was a decent character. But I think that she was decent.
So you can make value judgments about fictional entities. I'm glad you can finally figure that one out. So my claim is, according to the Bible, the Jesus that is in the Bible is in fact a fraud. And he's a fraud because he claimed to be the Messiah, and he wasn't the Messiah.
Ask that again. I'm sorry, because my phone was ringing. I'm sorry.
So Jesus claimed to be the Messiah, and he wasn't the Messiah. Jeremiah 33 talks about the Messiah. He says, "The days are surely coming, says the Lord, when I will fulfill the promise that I made to the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. In those days and at that time, I will cause a righteous branch to spring up for David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In those days, Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. And this is the name by which it will be called: the Lord is our righteousness. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never lack a man to sit on the throne of the house of Israel, and the Levitical priests shall never lack a man in my presence to offer burnt offerings, to make grain offerings, and to make sacrifices for all time. Did any of that
That's
come
one of the
true?
best prophecies in scripture, actually, come to think about it.
But did it come
So,
true?
yes, I think that Jesus is the Messiah, and yes, that did come true, and it will become more true
Oh,
in
great.
the future.
Yeah. So show me.
When Christ returns in the second coming.
Great. So show me in the Bible where he sat on the throne of King David.
In the book of Revelation, right in the back of the book, when
The
he
book of
actually
Revelation
returns,
hasn't come true yet, so we'll try again. So show me in the book where he actually did the thing.
Well, again,
I don't know if you know this. If you're going to fulfill a prophecy in the future, that means it hasn't been fulfilled yet.
No, it's called a dual prophecy. I know they taught you that in seminary.
So did he fulfill? Did he fulfill this yet?
Do you know what a dual prophecy is?
I do, Gman. Did he fulfill this?
What's a dual prophecy?
A dual prophecy is being misapplied by you right now. A dual prophecy says
no.
Context.
What is a dual prophecy? What is a dual prophecy?
I'll explain to you if you stop talking, child. So a dual prophecy is when you give a prophecy and it has an immediate fulfillment in the immediate context. So if I said, I'm going to the store tomorrow, and then I go to the store tomorrow, and then someone comes along later and says, but it also can be applied to this other thing because it has a secondary fulfillment. That makes it a dual prophecy. Now, I'm talking not about dual prophecies. I'm asking anything in this passage. Anything in this passage, what's been fulfilled?
Well, again, Jesus is reigning actually right now, sitting at the right hand of the Father. If you actually read and study the New Testament, hold on a minute. If you actually read and study the New Testament, he is sitting at the right hand of the Father, reigning right now. And when he returns, he will reign for 1,000 years. This is in the book of Revelation. This is actually quite a common Christian teaching. You know? I ain't got to prove. It's in the book of Revelation.
Prove to me that
read the Bible, haven't you?
Prove to me he's up there reigning.
You read the Bible, haven't you?
Prove to me that he's up there reigning, G-Man.
He is reigning. He's reigning in my heart. I mean,
he's reigning in your heart? Right? I got the spirit.
He's reigning in my heart.
I have the spirit of Christmas.
He's the Lord of Lords.
No, Santa Claus is the King of Kings. His spirit lives in my heart. Every winter I feel him.
So you know what a dual prophecy is, but you deny the Christian. Well, hold on a minute. So you deny the Christian faith that Jesus lives in our heart, but yet you used to be a Christian?
Yeah, I certainly do deny that because it's a nonsensical claim. So
in the book of Romans, it says that the Holy Spirit never lived inside of you. You were never none of his.
So nothing in this prophecy actually came true because it says in those days, Judah will be saved and Jerusalem will live in safety.
That happens in the back of the book.
No, it didn't happen yet.
Dual prophecy.
So nothing in this happened.
In this life. Hold on a minute. There were prophecies that he fulfilled in his life.
You're
missing.
There
were prophecies that he will fulfill in the future.
G-Man,
and that does not necessarily not make him the
G-Man,
Messiah.
you're misapplying terms. You're looking for a partial fulfillment prophecy. A partial fulfillment prophecy is when he does part now and then another part later.
Give me 1 second. I have to stop my phone. Give me 1 second.
Buddy, that better be Jesus calling you.
Volume all the way down. Hold on a minute. Let me stop.
You can't be up here doing the Lord's work with your phone not on do not disturb.
No, you're totally right about that. I wish this phone would stop calling. I know it's the devil. So
put it on do not disturb.
Anyway, it's called the dual prophecy. He fulfilled the prophecies that he needed to fulfill when he was on earth. I know they taught you that in a simple. Well, actually, no, they didn't because you only read the Old Testament.
Well, so we'll try this again, G-Man, because again, you're misapplying terms. When you do part of a prophecy now and then the other part of the prophecy later, that's called a partial fulfillment, right? A dual fulfillment means it all came true, but then there's another fulfillment that is also connected to it. This is not that. The actual prediction made in this prophecy did not come true. Now you're saying it partially came true because you think Jesus is somehow a king, but you can't prove that. You can't demonstrate that to be the case. And it doesn't say that he's going to reign in heaven. It says that he's going to be on the throne of King David.
Are we all about my claim or yours?
We're talking about Jeremiah 33. Focus up, G-Man.
Okay, are we going by your claim or my claim?
G-Man, we need you to lock in and pay attention to what Jeremiah 33 is saying.
It's hard for me to make a claim because you keep making them for me.
Buddy,
I never said any of them.
Lock in. I'm asking what in this verse came true.
Okay, so I'll say this real slow like for you, okay? Jesus is the Messiah.
We'll try this again.
When he walked the earth.
So Gman.
So you're gonna interrupt me and
Gman,
now you're gonna put words in my mouth.
Gman,
I predicted that was gonna happen.
Open your Bible to Jeremiah 33. I don't want an explanation. I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me which verses, which words in this prophecy came true.
I don't have to do that. I would like to.
Okay, so none of them came true. Just checking. Cool. All right, let's also go to Ezekiel 37, because Ezekiel 37 is another case where we have like pretty clear, explicit references to the Messiah.
How the heck can you be fraud if he's not real?
And just so you know, G-Man, the more you talk while I'm talking, all you're doing is wasting your breath. No one can hear you. My microphone's louder than yours. All you're doing is sounding silly in the background of me talking. So if you want people to actually hear what you say, I highly recommend that you don't yap over top of me.
Everybody heard what I had to say,
so
it ain't no biggie.
No one watches your channel. All 5 of them don't care. So in Ezekiel 37, it says, my servant David shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall follow my ordinances and be careful to observe my statutes. They shall live in the land that I gave to my servant Jacob, in which your ancestors lived, they and their children, and their children's children shall live there forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Now, according to this passage, what was supposed to happen with the Messiah?
To the atheists, according to you, Jesus never existed and God doesn't exist. So if God doesn't exist,
G-Man, I don't know why you can't focus. I've literally never made the claim that Jesus never existed. Try to focus on the passage at hand.
God didn't exist, didn't you? You said God
Try to
didn't
focus
exist.
on the passage at hand. This is an internal critique. I'm going into your book,
God did not exist,
and I'm critiquing the claims of the book. So the claims of the book is that the Messiah is going to be king over the Israelites and is going to bring them back into the land and allow them to live safely in the land. Did Jesus do that?
That's going to happen in the future.
Okay, so he didn't do that.
There he goes again. 20 seconds. Actually, that was 12 seconds this time.
So did he do it?
So anyway,
it's a yes or no. Did he do this?
Yes, he did.
Oh, show me where he did it.
Because it happened in the book of Revelation, but
Revelation hasn't happened yet in your worldview. So I'm asking you, did it come true yet? I'm not asking you if you think it will come true. I'm asking you, did it actually come true? So if it didn't come true yet because you think it's going to happen in the future, that just means it didn't come true.
No, it did happen in the future, but if I can talk.
No, it didn't happen in the future because the future hasn't happened yet.
No, I can explain how it happened.
No, try again. The future has not happened.
I'm going to guarantee 20 seconds without being interrupted.
All right, G-Man, has the future happened yet?
Oh, God, this is funny. Anyway, so...
G-Man, if you would answer a question, I wouldn't have to talk over you.
Ladies and gents, you won't let me answer the question.
Has the future happened yet? It's yes or no.
As an atheist, you don't believe
it's yes or no, G-Man. It's yes or no, G-Man. Yes or no, G-Man.
I am trying to answer.
It's a yes or no. Has the future happened? It's a yes or no. Has the future happened? It's a yes or no. Has the future happened?
You're going to have to let me.
It's a yes or no. I'm waiting for a yes or no.
So again, I said yes. Let me say it again.
Oh, okay. Yes. The future has happened.
Yes. Let me say it again. Yes. Let me say it again.
Yes. I just want to make sure everyone.
Let me say it again. Yes. You keep telling people I'm not answering your.
So I just want to make sure everyone heard the answer because he's still yapping because he doesn't have any self-control. He said that the future has already happened. Now, that's great. So can you explain to me?
Why I said that?
Can you explain to me how the future has already happened?
Okay, so if you go to the book of Revelation, right, the Bible predicts what's going to happen when Jesus Christ returns. When
we know this.
He's going to reign. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so when Jesus Christ returns, he's going to reign for 1,000 years. Okay, and when he reigns for them 1,000 years, he will be sitting on what? The throne of David. Remember earlier when I talked about the dual prophecy? There was the prophecies that he was supposed to fulfill in his lifetime, and then there's a prophecies that he's going to fulfill in the future.
That's not what a dual prophecy is.
Let me finish. You wrongly assume, because you never studied the New Testament, thinking that Jesus had to fulfill all of those prophecies.
He didn't fulfill any prophecies. Zero. Zero prophecies. Zero.
Yes, he did.
Zero.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Zero.
Yes, he did.
Zero.
Yes, he did.
Zero.
Yes, he did.
Zero.
Tell me something. You also said that the Bible doesn't predict any prophecy.
I bet you can't show me a single prophecy he fulfilled.
How come you never? Well, okay, Deuteronomy 28 verse 68.
He definitely didn't fulfill Deuteronomy 28.
Go read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Go read it.
That's the blessing. That's the blessing.
70 AD. Go read it.
That's the blessing and curses that came upon them with the Babylonians, dummy.
That's not what it says. Go to Deuteronomy
Yeah.
28, verse 68.
No. So okay, just so you're aware, the blessings and cursings from Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus 26 are about the Babylonians.
No, it isn't. Go read
it. It is.
Wait a minute. You saying Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68 is about the curses and the blessings? Okay, so read it then. Read verse 68.
It's about the exile.
Read it.
It's about the exile
Jesus
in Babylon.
Read it. Jesus made the prediction. Read it.
Well, Jesus didn't give this prediction, just so you're aware. This is written by Yahweh. Well, theoretically written by Moses. Says, the Lord will bring you back in ships to Egypt by a route that I promised that you would never see again. And there you shall offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but there will be no buyer, which is clearly a reference to the Babylonian exile, which is why Jeremiah says the exact same thing. If you bothered to read Jeremiah, Jeremiah says that you will go into Egypt.
Do you know what Iran is? Are you serious?
This guy's crazy. All right, so I'll explain it to you, Gman, since you haven't actually read the Bible. So in the book of Jeremiah, he tells you that a bunch of you are going to be held captive. You're going to escape captivity by going into Egypt. Have you not read Jeremiah?
Not Babylon. Egypt, not Babylon.
Have you not read Jeremiah? So you haven't read Jeremiah.
It was fulfilled in 70
just checking.
AD.
It was not.
It was fulfilled in 70 AD.
They certainly was not fulfilled in 70 AD.
Yes, it was.
No, it certainly was not.
In 70 AD. I'm pretty sure of it.
So what happened in 70 AD is that Titus Vespasian came into Jerusalem and waged war against Jerusalem and put them to the sword. G-Man, I don't know if you can take 5 seconds to listen to my answer. So in 70
to your answer. You don't know what you're talking about. Y'all heard.
So in 70 AD, Titus Vespasian marched into Jerusalem, besieged the city, and then conquered the city. And guess what? He didn't exile the Hebrews. He didn't exile the Jews. That didn't happen until the reign of Hadrian. That's when that happened, around 136. Way later, 70 years later, we've got the diaspora of the Jews. Not even close to 70.
JBL like a man. That happened in 70 AD.
The projection's crazy. The projection's crazy.
Go read Matthew chapter 24. You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so it's okay if you've never actually studied the Bible. We all know this. It's fine.
Oh, man. Jesus wasn't a fraud. You just don't understand Scripture. I think that's your problem. You just don't understand Scripture.
Buddy, I understand it, which is why you're up here struggling. You're on the struggle bus right now to find anything that Jesus actually fulfilled. So not only do you not understand what's happening in Deuteronomy 28, it wasn't fulfilled by Jesus. This is the other problem. And if you bother to read Deuteronomy 28, the punishments in this chapter is when they don't follow the commandments of God. This has nothing to do with the Messiah. Listen for 1 second to the beginning. Listen for 1 second to the beginning of Deuteronomy 28. This is why it's about the captivity. It says, if you will only obey the Lord your God by diligently observing all of his commandments that I'm commanding you today, the Lord your God will set you high above the nations of the earth. All these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you if you obey the Lord your God. This is about obeying the commandments of God. It has nothing to do with accepting the Messiah. So this isn't helpful. You have no idea what you're reading right now. And if you bother to read the Old Testament, God tells you when he sends them into Babylonian captivity, it's because they disobeyed the commands of God. There are 2 captivities, one in Assyria and one in Babylon, and both of them are because they disobeyed the commands of God. So I'm still waiting for one prophecy Jesus fulfilled.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. He actually predicted that was actually going to happen.
First of all, he didn't predict it. Not only did he not predict it, he didn't make any of it come true. That's nonsense. Now, you mentioned the virgin birth. I'd love to go over Isaiah 7 with you because I can guarantee you've never read Isaiah 7. So let's go over. So let's go. G-Man, do you ever stop talking or no? Just so you're aware, I know you've got 5.
You really don't know what you're talking about.
So I know you've got 5 people watching on your channel, but on my channel, you've got over 2,000 people watching you make a fool of yourself. So if you want to be taken seriously, we could actually read a passage together when you're done crashing out. Do you want to read a passage?
Wait till you take a look at this later. You'll see.
G-Man, do you want to read a passage?
I had a feeling you was going to do this.
G-Man, do you want to read a passage? G-Man, do you want to read a passage?
Yeah, I'd like to read a passage.
Yeah, let's talk about the supposed virgin birth. What's happening in Isaiah chapter 7?
Like to read a passage. You just asked me if I want to read a passage. I'm read John 3:16.
What's happening in Isaiah 7?
Yeah, I know how to read. For God so loved the world that he gave his only.
G-Man, I don't know why your brain isn't capable of staying on topic. I don't know what's happening over there. I don't know if you're on edibles or what, but if you're going to participate in this conversation, I need you to pay attention to what's happening in the conversation. You think you're capable of doing that?
Do you think you're capable of not grandstanding?
I'm not grandstanding. I'm asking you, do you want to read the prophecy that you brought up?
Do you believe that you're capable of not committing
G-Man,
arguments from silence?
do you want to read the prophecy you mentioned?
Anyway, you asked me that I want to read a Bible verse. I started quoting a verse. You didn't let me do it.
No, you brought up the virgin birth, and I asked you if you would like to read Isaiah 7 with me concerning the virgin birth, because what we're talking about.
Don't let nobody speak in here.
G-Man, the reason why you get muted everywhere you go is because you don't let anyone speak. If you've actually paid attention to my conversations, I don't have to mute people when they behave appropriately, but I do have to mute cowards like you that won't let me speak, and you want to continuously jump ship to new topics. Now, you brought up the virgin birth in Isaiah 7. All I'm asking is, would you like to read the virgin birth? Remember, we're still talking about the prophecies that Jesus fulfilled.
If you don't mind.
We're still talking about the prophecies Jesus fulfilled.
I'd like to talk about John 3:16.
Well, you don't get to choose. We're talking about the prophecies right now.
I don't get to choose.
I know, because it's not your live stream, G-Man. You're on my live stream. We're talking about a specific topic.
You're being cooked and you're being done over easy, my
G-Man, you're embarrassing yourself and your entire lineage right now. I hope your mother doesn't watch this. She's going to be embarrassed for you.
My mother will be just fine because my mother's not here. She's with Jesus. I dare you to make a disrespectful statement, though.
Why would I make a disrespectful statement about your mother?
Because you have a habit of doing that, sir.
When have I ever I've literally never disrespected a person's mother.
Oh my God, you've been disrespecting
now,
people since you
started. I will disrespect you because you're disrespectful. I'll disrespect you all day. I would never say anything about your mother. Now,
I'm a very passionate Christian.
You call it passionate. So the question that at hand right now, G-Man, is still, would you like to read the prophecy about Jesus that you brought up?
I'm gonna let you talk. But don't worry, we're going to debate. James is going to hear this.
Okay. I heard a no. The answer is no. You don't want to read the passage? Okay. I told you the reason why G-Man doesn't come on people's streams because he doesn't know how to have conversation. So, oh well, come back when you grow up, G-Man, okay? All right, let's grab another couple super chats. We'll get our next guest in here. W3 says, if Jesus was killed because people didn't like what he was saying, could you call him the first celebrity victim of cancel culture? I don't know if I would. I wouldn't call him canceled. I think he probably said a lot of shit that was against the law, got himself killed. You can't break the law like that. And Steven says, Jesus was crucified during Easter holidays. Who crucifies anyone during Easter holidays? Disgraceful. No wonder he was so hung up. That's good. But got to remember, there was no Easter yet. Easter didn't happen yet. Although, don't consult the King James Bible. If you read Acts in the King James Bible, it says that Easter is there. I think that's something like chapter 4, 4:12 maybe? Acts 4:12. Did I remember that correctly? Someone check me on that. I'll check it. Acts 4:12. Nope, not 4:12. Is it 12:4? No. 12:4, not 4:12. I was close. I was close, friends. My brain doesn't always grab it just right. Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't. How do I get rid of this super chat? Hold on. There we go. So there's a really fun thing in the King James Bible for those who don't know. If you go to Acts, where it says intending to bring him out to the people after the Passover, where it says Passover in like 99% of all the Bibles, in King James it says Easter. But the word Pascha in Greek does not mean Easter. They had to do some work on that one. All right, let's get our next guest in here. We're going to bring Al in from the YouTube queue. How you doing, Al?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I'm stuck in traffic.
Al, are you driving right now?
Yeah.
All right, buddy, you got to not be driving when you come on the live, okay?
Okay.
When you get a free spot later, come on back.
Sounds good.
I don't know why they do that. You guys don't drive in live. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. All right, let me grab our brooch, maybe? Our brooch. I think their connection's too bad. I don't think they're going to be able to make it in. If you're watching the live stream, there is a link to get in the description of the video. It's also on the screen. To be a guest, you go to tinyurl.com/d/guest DZ, or click the link in the description. Also, if you're watching on TikTok, just hit the guest request button and you'll be in. All right, let's grab our next guest. It looks like it's going to be Terrence. Welcome in, Terrence.
Hey, good to be here.
Terrence, are you at least 18 and are you a believer?
Yes, I am both.
Awesome. And do you believe, I'm sorry, do you agree or disagree with the statement on the screen?
Well, I agree that all the prophecies that are in the Bible, that Jesus did not fulfill all of them.
I think
But
he fulfilled some of them.
Yeah.
Which ones?
The one with the virgin birth, you had it just about, but he did not let you talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, you were interrupted all the time. He did not let you speak.
Yeah, that's a Gman thing.
Yeah. The virgin birth is the one I believe in, and I think that's the biggest one.
Sure. Do you know what's happening in Isaiah chapter 7?
Well, I must be honest, I only have read the New Testament most of the time, so I will grab it right away. What did you say?
Yeah, go ahead. If you got a Bible on you, flip open to Isaiah 7.
Just give me a moment. Isaiah 7. Yes.
Okay. Now, the background of Isaiah 7 is it's like 730, 725 BCE. And the king of Judah, that's Ahaz, he's getting attacked by two other kings. The Israelites in the north have made an alliance with the Arameans. They're just on the other side of Damascus. So they made an alliance, and they don't like the Judean king because the Judean king is against the alliance. So they go in and they try to wipe him out. It says, in the days of Ahaz, son of Jotham, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, King Rezin of Aram, and King Pekah, son of Remaliah of Israel, went up to attack Jerusalem, but they could not conquer it. Then, when the house of David heard that Aram had allied itself with Ephraim, the heart of Ahaz and the heart of his people shook as the trees of the forest before the wind. So that's kind of the setting that we're in immediately, is that, okay, there's a war happening and the people are terrified. So God sends Isaiah to give the first prophecy that ends in verse 9. And the prophecy is basically, hey, buck up. God's with you. It's going to be okay. He ends the prophecy by saying, if you do not stand firm in faith, you shall not stand in all. Right? So the goal here, the whole goal is to give the king and the people some reassurance that it's going to be okay during the war. So then the second part of the prophecy is where the supposed virgin birth is. And it says, again, the Lord spoke to Ahaz, ask a sign of the Lord your God, and let it be as deep as Sheol or as high as heaven. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, and I will not put the Lord to the test. Then Isaiah said, hear then, O house of David, is it too little for you to weary mortals that you weary my God also? Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child and shall bear a son and shall name him Emmanuel. He shall eat curds and honey by the time he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land before whose two kings you are in dread will be deserted. So I think the prophecy is pretty easy to suss out. He's saying there's a child that's already been conceived. Before that child is old enough to know right from wrong, the two kings that are attacking you, their lands are going to be laid waste. Did I interpret that correctly?
I guess so. Yeah.
Right. So I don't see anything in this about a virgin birth. I don't see anything about a Messiah. I don't see anything of that sort in here. And if you keep reading the rest of the chapter in chapter 8, the prophecy basically comes true, like within the lifetime of King Ahaz.
So you also claim, because in the New Testament it will say Mary will bear a son and you will name him Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
So that part, that's right here in verse 14.
It's
You say
supposedly
it's not compatible.
Yeah, it's not compatible. I'll tell you why it shows up in Matthew. So, they had a Greek translation of the Old Testament. They certainly couldn't read Hebrew. And when they did the Greek translation of the Old Testament, they did something that was fine at the time they translated it, but Matthew didn't understand it. So, in the Hebrew translate or the Greek translation, they use Parthenos rather than young woman. That's Alma in Hebrew. They use Parthenos in Greek. Now, Parthenos could have meant a young woman, could have meant a virgin. It's got a wide semantic range, right? We see it elsewhere, like in Genesis 34. We see it used of somebody who's not a virgin. We also see the same thing in the works of Homer. However, by the time Matthew lived, the word had shifted in culture a little bit, and it was usually almost exclusively used of people who were virgins, right? That being said, Matthew, looking at this passage, saw a supposed virgin giving birth, and he's like, it's a miracle. This got to be about Jesus. But the reality is, nothing in the prophecy is about Jesus. It's not even about a Messiah. It's just saying that there's a woman who's already pregnant. She's about to give birth, and this is a sign for King Ahaz. The sign is, before this child is old enough to know right from wrong, I'm going to wipe out these two armies. And the Emmanuel is in reference to the prophetic name. The Emmanuel is not saying that the child is God. That's not what it's saying. If you read chapter 8, as the prophecy comes true, the prophet himself cries out twice, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. So we get it first here when the war is taking place. The Assyrians come in and they're wreaking havoc, but they're also wiping out the enemies. He says, O Emmanuel, take notice, you peoples, and be dismayed. Listen, all you far-off countries, gird yourselves and be dismayed. Take counsel together, but it shall be brought to naught. Speak a word, but it will not stand, for God is with us, Emmanuel, right? So I'm reading the passage, and I don't see anything about a Messiah, like a messianic God-man being born to a virgin.
Can you help me a little bit with where in chapter 8 do you see that? Which verse?
Verse 8, 9, and 10.
8, 9, and 10.
Yeah. And so all of the children born to Isaiah had prophetic names. The names weren't representative of the child itself, typically. It was representative about what God was doing.
Do you have a little moment? My wife is calling.
Yeah, that's fine. See if he comes back in a second.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
I'm also feeding my baby at the moment.
I get it. You got to feed the baby.
Yeah, it's important.
So
where did we left off?
Right. Yeah. So you probably see in the passage there's really not much to be had here about a virgin birth, right?
No, that is true. Only the first in 7, you see a little bit. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son. That's the only part in the whole chapter.
Well, yeah, and the problem is, in the original Hebrew, it doesn't say virgin, right? It just says, "Look, the young woman is with child," and surely, if you read it in the Hebrew text, that's exactly what it says. It says "ha'alma hara," which means a pregnant young woman in Hebrew.
Okay. Well, I do not know Hebrew, so I will, for now, take your word on it.
It's okay. So I don't read this as being about Jesus, which means Matthew is obviously mistaken, right?
Well, I still disagree, but that is because I'm ignorant, to be fair.
Well, I mean, like all of us, you're learning, right? I think everybody is in some stage of learning. So, and it's for myself as well. I'm always still learning as well. Like I can't claim to know all things. Let's go over another good example of like prophecy that people are convinced is related to Jesus, but once you read it, it's not so clear. So you've probably heard this quotation before in reference to Jesus fulfilling prophecy, because this shows up in Matthew chapter 2. And it says here in Hosea 11, 1 and 2, when Israel was a child, I loved him, but out of Egypt I called my son. The more I called them, the more they went from me. They kept sacrificing to the Baals and offering incense to idols. Now, I'm reading this and I'm thinking, oh, well, this is just a history lesson. This is about the Exodus, when God called his firstborn son. That's Exodus chapter 4, verse 22, called his firstborn son out of Egypt. And then what did they do? They immediately strayed. They immediately started worshiping a golden calf, right? So like, if I'm looking at this part of the text, it clearly is not a prophecy, is it?
I totally agree, because you see in the Old Testament more it happens that God calling someone his son.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be the son, Jesus. I think it's good debatable in that prophecy.
Yeah, and I think so. I'll show you how Matthew uses it. Right. So when they're warned by dream of what's going to happen, they go to Egypt. It says when Joseph got up, then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother by night, and went to Egypt and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, out of Egypt I've called my son. But like, if you're reading Hosea 11, there's no reason why you would take that to be a prophecy. So like Matthew is out of his mind here.
Well, it's an interesting statement, and clearly I haven't read the Bible fully.
Right.
So it's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And so like I was reading these prophecies many years ago when I was still a Christian, and I knew, like even before I started Bible college, I knew that some prophecies like Isaiah 7 and even Isaiah 53, I already knew that the only way to make those fit Jesus is if you give it like dual fulfillments, like you have an original fulfillment and then like a dual fulfillment. And I didn't like that, but I was willing to accept it for a while because I was like, well, surely he fulfilled some prophecies in the original context. But the problem is the same thing we're doing right now. We're going through each individual prophecy. We can go through each individual prophecy about Jesus and they all read the same. Not a single one of them Jesus actually fulfilled in the original context. You have to invent a new context to make it work.
So also let's take an easy one. That he rides on a donkey comes in Zechariah 9 verse 8 or 9.
Yes, you got it. So this is fulfilled theoretically in Matthew 22. You know, when I first started streaming online, I used to joke and I would say Jesus only fulfilled one prophecy. And I would say that this is the only prophecy he fulfilled because he did in fact ride a donkey. And it's kind of tongue in cheek, but actually if you read it, he didn't really fulfill the prophecy, and I'll show you how. So when he gets the donkey, says this took place to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. Tell the daughter of Zion, look, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. Now, as he said in Zechariah 9, if you go to the passage, there are some stipulations other than just riding a donkey. Like anyone can ride a donkey, but what's supposed to happen, right? It says, rejoice greatly, O daughter Zion, shout aloud, O daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. He will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall command peace to the nations. His dominion shall be from sea to sea, from the river to the ends of the earth. But like certainly we couldn't apply this to Jesus. He was never a king. He was never a victorious king. He never ended the wars or relieved Israel of their enemies.
In my belief, he did it sort of way. He did not do it physical, but spiritually for the ones that want to listen to him. And I believe that in the future, the day when he returns, that then the full prophecy will come through, that all the wars will see, all the, well, you know it. I don't have to list it on, I think.
Right. So the problem I have with the prophecy is that it's clearly about a king in like a physical land, in a physical place, that says he's going to end all the wars for his people. He's going to cut off the war chariots, the war horses, and the battle bow, and he's going to allow his people to live in peace, right? Now, if he hasn't done that, that means he didn't fulfill the prophecy. I mean, it's cool that he rode a donkey. In fact, he rode two, according to the book of Matthew, but I don't think riding a donkey gets you anywhere close to fulfilling this prophecy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get the point.
Now, I do know that a lot of Christians would put this down as a partially fulfilled prophecy. So Christians do like two different types of prophecies. They'll say either one of two things. It's a dual fulfillment, meaning it's disconnected from the original context. It's got two different meanings. Or they'll say that it's partially fulfilled, meaning Jesus did one part of it, but not the second part of it. But I'll give you a brief example to kind of illustrate why I personally don't think this is a good hermeneutic. Because if I told you the Cleveland Browns in 2025 are going to go undefeated, and then they're going to get into the playoffs, and they're going to win the Super Bowl, and they're going to defeat the defending champs from last year. Now, if it happens that they have a good season, they're not undefeated, but let's say they're like, I don't know, like 14-4 or something, and then they make the playoffs, but they don't win the Super Bowl. Would we still say that they fulfilled the prophecy?
Well, then you also can say partially, yeah. I get the reference.
Right, yeah, but if I said, here's my, I'm going to put money on this bet. My bet, my prediction is that this is going to happen. Do you think the bookie is going to pay me out?
No, I will think he will keep the money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think when we're talking about prophecies, I think it's kind of important that if a prophecy, say, has 5 points, that they all 5 actually get fulfilled. And typically when we look at these partially fulfilled prophecies, the only part that does get fulfilled is like the part that anyone could do. Like I can ride a donkey. That's easy, right? The part that that makes him special is when he like ends all the war. That's the special part, right?
and the same as the virgin birth, it's not something everyone can do.
Right.
But what about the 30 pieces of silver?
Oh, this is a really good one. So this comes from Matthew 27, and this is one we don't get to talk about enough, but it's one of my favorite passages. So in Matthew 27, it says that Jesus was betrayed. It should be towards the end of it, I believe, or beginning of it. Let me grab it. It's going to be in verse 9. Yeah, verse 9. Okay. So in Matthew 27, verse 9, after he's betrayed, it says, "Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah." And then he quotes Jeremiah. And the quotation says, "And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of the one on whom a price had been set, on whom some of the people of Israel had set a price, and they gave them for the potter's field as the Lord commanded me." Okay. Now, if I asked you where in Jeremiah does this come from, do you think you could find it?
Not in Jeremiah, no. I know something fake in Zachariah, I think, somewhere. The pastor I talked about it. It was 10 or 11?
Yeah, I think it's 11. So if you go to Zechariah 11, what we find is something completely different. It's not about the Messiah being betrayed at all. God sends Zechariah to do a performative prophecy because he's upset. He's like, these are bad people, and I don't even like my shepherds. So he sends Zechariah to do a performative prophecy where he pretends to be a shepherd, but then he quits. And when he quits, he's like, "Yeah, you don't have to pay me." You know what I mean? But they pay him anyways, and God says, "Throw it into the treasury." So I'll show you where that says. It's going to be up here. The blah, 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 blah. There you go, verse 12. It says, "I then said to them, if it seems right to you, give me my wages, but if not, keep them." So they weighed out as my wages 30 shekels of silver. Then the Lord said to me, "Throw it into the treasury, this lordly price at which I was valued by them." So I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw them into the treasury in the house of the Lord. So the problem we have here is no one was actually betrayed. The shepherd himself, Zechariah in this case, received money for a job he didn't perform. And because he didn't perform the job, he gave the money back.
You leave my mouth wide open.
It's a tough one, I know, right? Because you would think
it's very tough to defend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to defend. And now here's the thing: the New Testament authors, they weren't crazy. They were doing something, a form of midrash that some Jews were already doing. And so, for example, if you read the Dead Scrolls and like read the Habakkuk Pesher or some of the other Pesherim in the Dead Sea Scrolls, what they were doing with the prophecies, because the prophecies didn't really come true. So what they were doing with the prophecies is they were going into it and they were rewording them, saying, no, well, this was originally about the Greeks. Now it's about this. This was originally about so-and-so. Now it's about such and such. So they were just saying, listen, the prophecies can't fail. So we have to go in and reinterpret them, even if the interpretation has nothing to do with the original context. So the New Testament authors were doing the exact same thing. They were saying, okay, we have this Messiah. We can't give up the idea that this is the Messiah. So what are we going to do? We're going to go back into the Old Testament. We're just going to reinterpret a bunch of passages that sound vaguely familiar to Jesus and say that they're prophecies about Jesus. And that's, to me, I think this is dishonest. I don't think it's an honest way of doing it. I think it's like a really advanced form of coping with failure.
Yeah, well, the fun part is I start believing when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I never read the scripture. I'm now trying to, how do you call it? Learn the book.
Takes time.
Because, yeah, It takes a lot of time.
And I'll tell you what, so I was a Christian for a long time. And I deconverted because I did study the scriptures. I didn't just study the parts that I liked, I studied all of it, right? And the more I read it, the more I found the plot holes, the more I found that Jesus didn't actually do what the Messiah was supposed to do. And in fact, the New Testament contradicts what the Old Testament says about the Messiah. If you look at clear passages about the Messianic age, it says in Deuteronomy 30 that the law is going to be followed. It says in Ezekiel 44 and beyond that in the New Jerusalem, the new heavens and new earth, they're going to continue to have offerings and sacrifices. It says in Isaiah 65 in the new heaven and new earth that people are still going to actually die. They're just going to live for a very, very long time, but they're still going to die eventually. It says in Isaiah 66 in the new Jerusalem, new heaven, new earth, that there's still going to be offerings and sacrifices. So like the idea that Jesus is going to do away with all death and he's going to get rid of all the offerings and sacrifices, like this is not compatible with the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And can I ask a personal question?
Sure.
When did you start to believe, and was that through scripture or through faith?
So I started to believe as a child. I grew up around other believing people, so I guess I just assumed it was true because everybody in my life kind of did too. But I didn't grow up in a religious family. Like they didn't drag us to church. They didn't make us go to church. It was like a personal decision within our family. My parents believed in teaching the kids to make their own decisions. I became an evangelical when I was about 15, turning 16. And that's if you asked me prior to that, if I believed, I would have told you yes. Who doesn't? Everyone believes this, right? But that being said, that was like a turning point for me when it became real. When I sort of had like my religious awakening, when I was like, oh, well, if this thing's real, I have to dedicate my entire life to this. This isn't something to take lightly. And that some evangelical churches would say, well, that was like my born again experience, right? And I took it very seriously. I got involved in ministry. I eventually went to Bible college and seminary. The problem is the more I studied, the more it turned out that it just couldn't be true. And once you get to the point where like it just can't be true, then it's pretty easy to go back and reinterpret some of your past experiences where you thought you were experiencing God. It's pretty easy to reinterpret those and be like, oh, that was just, my imagination doing what imaginations do.
Okay. That's interesting.
But I appreciate you coming up and chatting with me, though. I had a good time, Terrence. As you study through the Bible and you read more stuff, come back and talk with me and let me know how you're doing, okay?
Yeah, it's good. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Terrence, he took that like a champ. All right, so the TikTok stream is lagging because my vertical stream is lagging because the resolution's too high. So I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the super chats that have been sent on the vertical stream, and then I'm going to restart it with a lower resolution, and then it should automatically cause the TikTok stream to stop lagging. So I apologize for that, and then we'll get our next guest in here. Nightman says, just got off work and saw the cookout had started. Hell yeah. Well, hell yeah to you, Nightman. I appreciate coming by and watching. And our friend Small Johnson's with us. Says, sorry, Justin, now I feel like a POS. I thought you said you're all hanging out for his birthday. No, Small Johnson, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. No. Unfortunately, for the birthday weekend in the next couple of days, he's going to be with mom, but I'll go grab my son this coming week. And then we're actually going to be on vacation. Not this week, but in like 10 days from now, I think, or 7 days from now, we're going to take a week vacation. I won't be streaming at all. But Carlos, thank you for sending out 20 Deconstruction Zone memberships. I super appreciate that, buddy. That is huge. That's huge, Carlos. Also, on August the 6th, mark your calendars, August 6th, I'm going to be hosting an episode on the line with Matt Delahunty. So I'm going to be teaming up finally with the GOAT on the line. And Godwin says, are Elijah and Elisha the same? No, when Judah and Israel merged, they weren't the same. But I don't think so. but I can 1,000,000% see why you would come to that conclusion. And all I can tell you about that particular conclusion is I can't prove you wrong. I can only tell you that I don't think they intended them to be the same person. That being said, I could be persuaded on it. I literally could. I haven't heard a super great argument for it, but I am all ears for a good argument on Elijah and Elisha originally being the same person. St. Barnabas says, so many Christians don't read the Old Testament. That's like watching The Lord of the Rings and skipping the first half of the trilogy. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing they refuse to read this thing. And Writing Jake says, did the New Testament authors paint Jesus as the angel of the Lord from the Old Testament, since they said the angel of the Lord had God's face? So there's divided opinions on this, Jake. So some authors of the New Testament would have equated him to being the angel of the Lord. I don't think all would. It's clear that, like in the book of Hebrews, they think that he's a manifestation of Melchizedek. That's a whole nother thing. Go to the Dead Sea Scrolls and go to the book of Enoch and read about the lore of Melchizedek and compare it to what you find in the book of Hebrews. They clearly think that he's a manifestation of Melchizedek. And Victor says triangulation equals Trinity. I see what you did there. Someone finally gets me. Sometimes in the middle, as I'm saying these things, I wonder if anyone's going to catch them. And I'm so glad that you do. It says, I pray you encounter Jesus personally, so all your amazing Bible knowledge is used for God's glory. Well, sorry, Victor, I won't be, because I already know he's a liar and a fraud, but I appreciate you catching my Trinity pun. And Diabolo says, is it hypercritical that a vegetarian finds the smell of roasted Christians pleasing? It's not. It's not. Keep holding their feet to the fire, mate. Love from Australia. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Avocado. And Luke says, are there any instances where Alma translates to virgin in the same way Nakam can be translated to change, mind, regret, or repent? Yes, we do have instances in the ancient world, in fact, where Alma could refer to a virgin. The problem with that is it's a generic word. It just means young woman, right? So certainly there are cases where you talk about a young woman over there and she's a virgin. It's easy, right? But virginity is not implied by the word Alma. And Bothell guy says, not about religion, found a place with diet pepper, strawberry, shortcake, and it changed my life. Thanks for the plug. There's a chance I don't get diabetes now. I love the Dr. Pepper Zero Strawberry. It's amazing. It might be my favorite. The problem is it's so expensive. I wait for it to go on sale and I buy a bunch of it and then I run out and then I have to wait for it to go on sale again. Forum says the apostles took his Last Supper commands literally and cannibalized his corpse. The empty tomb was a metaphor for their stomachs, and the resurrection was when bits of him passed through their stool. That's actually really good. I like the way you think about that. And you're right. The Catholic Church interpreted John chapter 6 and also what he says at the Last Supper as literal. He did not interpret that as being some sort of a metaphor. And Texas, my friend, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, look, I'm going to fulfill these prophecies eventually, but I'm very busy helping millionaires win their sports ball games. Give me a break. A day is like 1,000 years for me. I know. It's hard when you're all-knowing, all-powerful, and timeless to do things that require those qualities. Good to see you, Texas. And Superhuman Theory says, if the afterlife is flipped or was flipped, that to be a Christian means to accept living in hell as an eternal sacrifice to God, and sinners chose to live in infinite pleasure, who would still be a Christian? It's actually a good question. Would you still be a Christian without the benefit or without the perceived benefit of being a Christian? Like, if God didn't promise you all kinds of good things, would you still be a Christian? Probably not. Probably not. JMR, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. That's huge. Very generous. Says, hear me out. I think Gman actually took that W spiritually. And when medtech advances a lot, we can case study this trinity of bizarre overconfidence, social self-destruction, and there was one more shoot. Where was it? Oh, pro-slavery POSFF. It's crazy. I'll never get over G-Man being pro-slavery. It hurts me to my core to watch. Thank you for the super chat. And Fierce Interaction says, PSA from a noob for anyone buying the NRSV, spring for a version with the large print. I'm going blind over here. I'm going to need Jesus to rub spit and mud in my eyes. Love you, Justin. Well, thank you, Fierce Interaction. And yes, the text is small. You gotta pick your size carefully. And Flash says, I'm sure Gman is still chatting about your conversation with his 5 followers. What a joke. I know. Listen, there's a reason why no one watches Gman's channel, because he can't handle himself. And Cheapsnack says, Eve's son, Mom, can we smash or nah? Hey, that's a fair question. That's a fair question, actually. Constant's been watching Christian YouTubers bash competing denominations lately. Their self-righteous smugness reminds me why I only go to church for funerals. I'm with you, Con. And there's another reason why I try to minimize atheists infighting. Guys, we're all on the same team. Stop fighting each other. There are things we don't always agree on. It's okay. It's okay. And Doug says, happy cooking, Justin. I've heard you mention Zerubbabel a few times, and I'm wondering who he was. Zerubbabel was one of the leaders of the Israelites when they came back from Babylon. He was the first new governor of the Israelites when they went to the homeland and started reassembling. Matthew says Jesus was a mental health fraud. I agree. His guidance for the anxious person, don't be anxious, is genius effing fraud. Yes. Could you imagine being a mental health professional, being God, knowing all things, and saying, well, don't worry, guys. Oh, now that you said don't worry. Sure. Sure. I never thought about that. All right, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause real quick the vertical live stream only. Just for a moment. I'm going to pause the vertical live stream only. I'm going to restart the vertical live stream because it's lagging like crazy and it's causing our TikTok stream to lag like crazy. So horizontal stream is not going to pause at all. I'll be right back with the vertical stream. Actually, it turns out I can't restart the vertical stream while the horizontal stream is live. So son of a bitch. I'll pause both streams and restart the vertical stream.